Sometimes we find that people's TV choices influence us. Like football, for instance. Some of us may not be football fans, but if we hang around those who watch football a lot, we're sucked in. And before we know it, we even begin to support the teams they support. That's where I found myself with wildlife. My nieces and nephews used to watch a lot of it, and I got sucked in. And I started to watch all the Wildlife on 4 and all the other wildlife programs. And Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests present, anyone knows what that bird is?
Golden eagle.
Yes, that's the eagle. The topic of my speech tonight is the king of birds. You can see the eagle is seated in its majesty. It looks big, it's strong. That's because an eagle on the average weighs anything between 500 grams and 9 kilograms. The eagle is big, it's powerful, it's strong. The eagle is the largest bird, as we all know. And the largest eagle, the Stellar Seas, actually weighs 9 kilograms. The eagle lives in places where other birds will not be found. The eagle lives by any body of water, especially the seafront. It lives by the lake. You can find the eagle in dense forests, and you can even find the eagle on mountain tops. The eagle has speed. It moves up to 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers per hour. The eagle eats reptiles, fresh things. The eagle will feed on small mammals and fish. The eagle has longevity of life. It lives up to 30 years lifespan. And the eagle actually has about 60 different species. I find it a very fascinating animal. What more can I tell you about the eagle that's interesting tonight and fascinating? There's the saying, birds of a feather flock together. Whoever came up with that saying must have had the eagle in mind, because the eagle does not mix with other birds. The eagle lives with its kind. Which brings me to a little story I once heard. There was an eagle egg that was placed in a crow's nest. And when the egg hatched, the baby eagle grew thinking it was a crow. But after a while, it began to notice that it was a little bit different, but still not convinced, lived with the crows until one fateful day, a big eagle came in their midst and tried to take away one of the crows. Now something rose within this baby eagle thinking, I'm sure I can chase after this giant eagle, well, giant bird, as it thought, and I can rescue my friend. And off it went. What that did was, it made it realize its potential, that it wasn't a bird for the valley, but for the mountain. It went very high, and that was all. It never came back to live with the crow. So the eagle does not mix, but lives with its own. The eagles, they are so big that they sit in very high places, and they've got very sharp vision. They can actually see and spot their enemies and prey from about a mile to a mile and a half away. And very often, because they can dive very fast, they dive about 100 miles far, they can spot their target and they can rescue themselves from whatever target, enemy they're faced with. Besides, the eagle with great determination, with great resolution, will always almost spot its enemy from a distance and rescue itself. The eagle does not feed on dead stuff like vultures do. They feed on fresh food. I cringe. The eagle loves the storm. As you can see with the first diagram, because the eagle's sight is so keen, it sits looking down at its prey. And the second diagram, birds, they do flap their wings. And you think the eagle is a bird and it can flap its wings. But the eagle does more than that, because the eagle is not afraid of the storm. The eagle actually flies through the eye of the storm. And what it does is, it doesn't flap its wings, it spreads its wings, and it locks its wings and it can glide through the storm, which is why they say the eagle flies through the eye of the storm. So the eagle almost always will find its way through the storm. What more can I tell you about the eagle tonight? The eagles never change partners. Mommy eagle sticks with daddy eagle. You will never find a daddy eagle having mommy eagle 1, 2, and 3. It's one partner for life. And to make it more interesting, they do court. When an eagle is interested, a male eagle is interested in a female eagle, what it does is it throws a twig from a height, and the male eagle will try to catch it. This is done repeatedly until he masters the art. And then they move on and get married. And then you have daddy eagle and you have mommy eagle. And the eagle trains its children once they're together. They train their children, they bring them up, they teach them how to fly. The daddy eagle will build a nest. And in that nest, the children learn to grow out of the nest until they're strong enough. Then they teach them how to fly. The mommy eagle drops the baby eagle from a height, and the father tries to catch it from beneath. And once the child gets the hang of it, it's free to go. What more will the eagle do? The eagle has its own inbuilt brake mechanism. What do I mean by that? The tail. The tail of the eagle helps it when it lands, and it also helps it to maneuver when it flies. Eagles, they also go through their own cosmetic stage. What do I mean by that? As they get older, they become weak and they shed their feathers, they're worn. So what do? They go into seclusion, and when they're in seclusion, they begin to pull out their feathers, and once it grows back, they're out to be part of the eagle world again, off to go. Now, they say retention of information is 5% when it's oral, 35% when it's visual, and 65% when it's oral and visual. Now, why do you need to know this? You might be thinking, why do I need to retain 65% of what I've said tonight? You do, because the eagle is the king of birds. Thank you, Mr. Tosin.